Today is November 16th. We're back from staycation, ready to talk some Yanks, go over some rumors, and find out what's been being said. Let's do it. Let's talk Yanks.
Talking Yanks with old Jomboy Jake. Recaps galore and weekly awards. Stat lines, steaming hot takes. Your Yankees news with these two fine dudes. It's time for Talkin' Yanks. Talking Yanks with old Jomboy Jake. Talking Yanks with old Jomboy Jake.
Hello and welcome to Talkin' Yanks. Thank you very much for tuning in and hanging out with us today. Feels like forever since we've done an episode, just a sit down, hang out, chat about the Yankees episode. We've been doing interviews. King was awesome last week. Hoke the week before that. Before that, we were off for the entire World Series and Championship Series, really. And then it was game recap. So this feels good to be back. My name's Jimmy. Sitting next to me is Jake. BBD in the corner. And producer Zach is behind the scenes vlogging. You can check out the vlog on Jomboy Media YouTube. So there's four guys in the room. Jake, how are you?
I'm good, James. Happy November 16th, as it always is. Yeah, man, we haven't talked some Yanks in a little bit. Rumors are swirling.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my God, like the winds yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Timeout.
Getting a call from New York, so.
New York.
It's probably
New
a big deal.
York.
Tornado warning last night.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Our power went out.
I was caught in that for a little bit.
Katie's a California girl. I don't think she's used to all that.
Oh, she Californian.
The elements coming into play.
Northeast weather, been telling you. Yeah, man. Good to be back. Good to sink my teeth into Yankee stuff. I'm actually higher on the Yankees offseason than I was.
Okay.
I'm talking myself into veteran bargains. Sean Doolittle, come to the Yanks. But doing well. Got to play some golf. Love Sedona. I'm a Sedona man now.
Have you been listening to the song Sedona by Houndmouth?
I have not. I've been listening to the song Sedona by Houndstooth. So that's been good. But, yeah, I had a couple funny golf things happened. I played with a couple old guys in Sedona, Bill and James. And then 2 days later, I was like, you know what, I'm going to sneak in another round. And there was an opening on the golf course, and I drive up to the tee, and it was Bill and James again. So I've got a nice little old man golf crew in Sedona, and then I played one round in Scottsdale, and I was with these guys, and they were pretty tough. One guy was his first time ever golfing, so I was like, okay, so we're going to have a long day, huh? About the third hole, I find out they're there for a work thing, a couple contractors, so I busted out my old electrical supply knowledge. By the fourth hole, I'm on the tab, so sipping margs with the dudes.
What were their names?
Don't know. We didn't exchange pleasantries.
But
they just were like, hey, if you want to get stuff, it's not our money. It's like, yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I was back in the game.
Who was the best out of you, Bill and James?
Oh, it was me. I played good in Sedona.
Well, you
Dude, I was in the Vortex, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Sedona has magical powers.
Some people may know what that means.
Yes. Gotta come original.
You should listen to Sedona by Houndmouth. Let's see.
You should listen to Sedona by Houndstooth. It's big with the Boston crew.
Yeah.
Copyright.
No, I found a live version.
Huge.
Got him.
What's up with you?
Nothing. Nothing. Excited to talk Yanks. BBD, producer Bug put on a bunch of rumors on our sheet.
Sure.
I'm so adverse to rumors. I don't really like a lot of them. But I wanted to do a trade rumor episode because I think the people would like that.
Yeah.
I'm softening my heart for the fans
I'm
of the people. And so I read this list of the stuff that BBD just put together for us, and some of it I haven't. I tune out a lot of this nonsense.
Right.
That it doesn't even get into my brain at all. So three of the bullet points he has here, no idea they were out and about in Yankees world. So I'm excited to get into that. But before we do that, I'm excited to tell you about our most recent Patreons, and we haven't done this in a long time. So hang on tight. Christopher Oswald, Varun, Rishi, JC, Guzman, Kyle, Devian, YC, Dingo Ate Ya Baby, Shane Berthoud, Roberto Gonzalez, Akul Shah, Anthony Ventola, Stephen Benjamin Eisen, well, SBE for you, John Vinakua, Austin Jones, Jake Suppa, Lauren Russell. Hey, Lauren.
Hey.
What are you doing? Ivy Lopez, _ Nick K, Jesse Ozog, Douglas Titmus, Mark Pulowski, Brandon Casey, Zach Morgan, Thomas Newton, TJ Stosich, Nick Roman Gomez, Taylor Schmelcher, Yuzaki Nagamura, Andy Seidenberg, and Zach Wetstein. Those are our most recent patrons. Thank you guys very much for the support. Appreciate it as always.
And TJ Yates.
TJ Yates. Is he anywhere?
No.
I mean, he's somewhere.
He's somewhere.
He didn't die. He's not doing anything?
No, I don't think he's in the league.
Big update. Yesterday there was a game in the Dominican Winter League. Domingo Herman started. Miguel Andujar played at third.
Pete O'Brien.
Jorge Mateo was at short. Slugger Pete O'Brien was in there. Someone else that was Almonte was the next Yankee farmhand. There's 5 of the 10 guys were ex-Yankee farmhands. It got rained out. Didn't happen.
Tough.
I did buy a pass to the Dominican Winter League. It's like $15 for every game.
Content.
So that was pretty cheap. So I was watching. Melky Cabrera played in another game, but I wasn't interested. I wanted to watch Herman pitch. I really did. So, and Gary Sanchez on the team as well. So maybe we'll do like an update, from those games. How'd they look? Those 3 guys. So that didn't happen. Wish it did. I think they're playing a doubleheader today now.
Huge.
Maybe it's on right now. No.
It's early.
It's early. It couldn't be.
Maybe.
Let's go to the first little rumor. News. Or do you want to start with the big baseball news?
Big baseball news.
Yeah. Kim Ng.
Yeah.
Kim Ng, the first female GM to be hired in a major American sport. So, really, really cool, really amazing moment. And in a way, talking about, how big of a moment it is for females in sports and breaking the barrier and all that, in a way it does downplay, that Kim Ng deserved this for the last 15 years. She was, her first interview to be a GM of a team was in 2005. They did the list of current GMs that were still in college. So she's been qualified to get in that room for 15 years and now has a job with the Marlins. So, a lot of people are saying hey, this isn't a risk. This is the most qualified person for the position in a long time. So, but it is amazing and awesome that barrier is broken down. It's terrible and crazy that it is built up. And Tony Reale had a whole tweet thread on it. And one thing that he said really stood out to me. And he was like, great. Now companies, when they hire, they can interview 100% of the population instead of just 50. It's
yeah,
that's a good, good point. What idiots we've been, humans have been, and Americans have been. Because I think in other countries it's not as bad.
Yeah. No, her first interview was 2005 with the Dodgers. That job went to Ned Colletti, fired. She interviewed with Seattle, Padres, Anaheim, the Giants. She finally gets her turn. About 15 years too late. She was connected to Cashman in the Yankees. She was there for a while. Awesome for her. Awesome for women. Awesome for Asian Americans. And the thing that jumped out to me, and again, some people forget that you can talk about politics without being political, but I mentioned this to Big Baby David on Wake and Jake, but there is an image going around of all the vice presidents that have been vice presidents in our country before, and then Kamala Harris. And when you see the pictures and you see I think there was 47 white male vice presidents, and then you see a woman, you're like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. So good for Kim Ng. I hope she crushes it. She's walking into a pretty good situation with the Marlins. Yeah, Jeets, he keeps it going down there. So, Yankee South.
Yeah. I mean, she did her press conference today. Anything good come from it?
I caught some of it. She was just very well spoken. The reporters were asking not to be shots fired, but kind of mad questions.
Yeah. Well, it's great. It's good news across the league and for the Marlins. I mean, they got some good stuff going on down there.
Fish.
How about that? So that was cool. And Gene and Cash came out with really good quotes.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's good.
It's funny that she wasn't like rumored at all, really, right? She'd been rumored for every GM position for like a decade.
Yeah.
I didn't see many.
There weren't that many rumors in general.
Yeah.
No, I was like, I was like, oh, they were hiring?
Yeah.
I didn't even apply.
You didn't?
Did not.
I did.
Did not. I did not. Let's go to the first little bullet point that BBD has here, because we shared this on Talkin' Baseball. Me and BBD did. You didn't.
No.
You weren't the same elk brain. We have elk brains.
Yeah.
I think if the Yankees do not land DJ LeMahieu, that they're going to pick up Simmons. I said that, 2 weeks ago now, and now it's officially rumors here. So I didn't know that this, like, other people had written about this, or it's rumored that that the Yankees reached out. It makes a lot of sense if you don't believe in Glaber at shortstop, which I do not. So the thinking is in 2022, there's a huge shortstop pool. Like if you want a long-term shortstop that isn't homegrown, 2022 is when you're going to get that guy.
21, 22.
Next offseason.
Next offseason.
Depends
how you label it.
They list these free agents as the 20 free agents. So next year, the 21 crop.
But it's for the 2022 season.
Yes.
I see what happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Well,
dumb.
not this offseason, next offseason.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the offseason, November, December.
Lindor story. Yeah.
In the past, they would be signed by New Year's.
They hit
but
free agency in that year.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Okay. Well, that's the big crop of shortstops.
Yes.
So if you don't bring back DJ, which is still their number one priority and has to be. So this is very fall safe. And if they don't bring back DJ, they lose him. Someone outbids him. He goes somewhere else. I think they're going to go find Simmons on a 1-year deal, plug him at short, move Glaber to second. He's really good defensively. I asked my brother-in-law, who's an Angels fan, who's watching him. He said he'd be so good at Yankee Stadium. His swing's made for that. And he said, I think Yankees fans would love him because he's really good defensively. And he's statistically one of the best, like climbing up to one of the best defensive shortstops of all time.
Yeah.
So I've talked myself into, if they don't get DJ, this is going to happen. I'd rather them just get DJ.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not trying to change it. But now it's being written about. So, and there's also the connection with the Angels GM, Epler,
Billy Epler,
who got fired. He was Cashman's assistant for a long time. So there's kind of that stick Michael way of thinking that's been sent down. So you would kind of guess if Epler really loves a player, it probably comes from a thinking that maybe Cashman likes him too.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar with Andrelton Simmons, big time prospect, a special defensive player. I mean, he's a defensive war king. Like I know a lot of people aren't there, war people out there, and Simmons could be used as an argument for or against it because some of his defensive numbers, they put him on the scale with Derek Jeter kind of, and in a way, I don't think that's right. But and that becomes my first caveat is that I don't think Andrelton Simmons is going to get a 1-year deal. I think he can get a multi-year deal places, and so that's kind of my one raise the eyebrow thing about it. And the other thing that I've talked myself into recently, and it ties into the Yankees and it ties into Clint, is that I don't think the Yankees are going to change their future shortstop of Gleyber Torres over a 60-game sample. I know he looked good this year. I know he made us uncomfortable.
I did a lot of research on that. It's not a 60-game sample. He's never been good at shortstop.
He was never elite, no, but he's still very young, and you can still get better. And he has the tools. His range doesn't look special. He has good arm strength. He can field balls. All of the mistakes we laid, I got nervous because we tweeted out from Talkin' Yankees all of Glaber's errors this year. I was like, damn, we're in the game now.
We did that?
Yeah.
We did like a montage of them.
I was a little nervous about it. It was all right.
I didn't see any, comments. But
I think I would have vetoed that.
Yeah. I thought about it, and then I watched them. And so after you watch them, they're all just like lazy, young, dumb errors. And I think the Yankees are also going to look at Clint Frazier from last year. He was atrocious. Atrocious. This year, he ends up being a Gold Glove finalist.
Yeah. Good. He was good.
He was good, and I think the Yankees, Gleyber Torres is still really young.
Shortstop's a little different than corner outfield.
I don't think from this season they're ready to punt on Gleyber Torres at the shortstop.
If they don't get DJ, they could just send him back to second. I think it's easier.
Right, and in our heads, yes, that makes sense, but it's also like Gleyber Torres, it's the shortstop position, just like you said it before. I don't think they're going to take that from him, and I think Andrelton Simmons is also out of that 1 year stopgap range.
Yeah, I think
it
that
would have to be multi-years.
I think much like DJ, you tell Simmons, hey, dude, you're going to be the starting shortstop for the Yankees on the bigger stage than Anaheim, and if you have a big year, you will go be in that shortstop market where you'll fall somewhere. Like, they're going to set the bar high. He's not going to be...
I could see that the other way. I mean, if Andrelton Simmons, there's a time not to be a free agent shortstop, it would be next year.
Yeah, but they might raise everything.
Oh. What do you got, Beavers?
The market might be weird in a year or different because the market's weird this year. An important thing about Simmons is that, like, the industry believes Cashman's kind of had a crush on him forever.
Yeah.
When Jeter retired, his plan was to trade for Simmons. Didi was plan B. The first thing Billy Epler did when he left the Yankees and went to the Angels, his very first move was going and trading for Andrelton Simmons. Like, the Yankees have liked him for a long time, so if Simmons is willing to take a 1 year deal, and I think I agree with you that he's probably holding out to get a multi-year offer. I don't think he'll get it, but he wants one for sure. The Yankees have liked him and have been rumbling about wanting to get him in pinstripes for a while.
Yeah.
And DJ is still number one priority and cancels out that plan pretty easily, I think. So, just an interesting thought. And now it's who wrote about it? Dan Martin.
Job, Dan.
But I didn't even... I thought of that just when I saw it. The next rumor, and this one I think is completely silly, it's from our dude John Heyman. They say the Yankees have checked in on Yadier Molina. He's going back to St. Louis, and I think that's it.
Yeah. The only other side of that is, and I'm... Again, 95% with you. That 5% chance is there is a little bit about old catchers kind of keeping the party going and their original team isn't into it. Like, I remember, and he ended up having a lot of career after, but like Pudge Rodriguez, I was like, why would he ever leave Texas? And he ended up bopping around to a bunch of teams after that. Like, if there's a guy that could do something like that, it's Yachty, man. I mean, he's a tough guy. He's a baseball lifer. He could be the guy saying he's going to play catcher till he's 43. And if you're the Cardinals and you know that, you also might have to at some point be like, hey, we don't want to be in this for 44-year-old Yadier Molina behind the plate. So I don't know. I mean, it's a much better headline.
He's seeking a 2-year deal.
It's a much better headline,
according to Heyman,
than a realistic thing, especially for the Yankees, because, I mean, the whole Gary Sanchez conversation, I mean, it would be, don't get me wrong, it would be fireworks, electric, and good content for us if the Yankees' catching situation is Yadier Molina and Gary Sanchez. Holy shit. But, I think that's a little more clicky than anything else.
Seems very clicky to me, and it seems like just pressuring the Cardinals.
Probably.
I almost straight up don't believe this.
Yeah, what I had read was that it's him trying to get 2 years out of the Cardinals.
Yes.
Because the Yankees and Mets are always the two richest teams, or now they are with the Mets and Cohen.
This smells so strong, like the Cardinals offered him a 1-year deal, and now, is he a Boris agent?
I was just going to check that. Yadier Rivera, no. Yadier Molina is the brother of Benji and Jose.
Huge.
No, Melon Roman.
Melvin.
His agent.
MDR Sports.
Nice. Well, this reeks of the Cardinals offer him a 1-year deal. He wants to say, hey, I'm getting interest from other people, or his agent is floating around interest from other people, and they're using the Yankees.
Yeah.
So I my stock meter in this is 0.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this earlier, and I think I'm going to roll with this, is that I think the Yankees right now feel pretty handcuffed by the catcher position. They still really like Higgy. They don't like him as an everyday starting catcher. Gary Sanchez is maybe the most talented catcher in the league. Buster Olney just had a really good article the other day talking about the Yankees and Gary Sanchez, and like, let's be honest. I mean, we're in bed together at this point. And I think there's 1 year that it's like next year is going to be it either clicks back and Gary's Gary, or it's time to go. But they're not going to trade him with 0 value. Like, there's no. That's not there. So, I mean, Gary Sanchez is going to be back on the Yankees, and he's going to be a catcher. And then, I mean, to get rid of Higgy just to bring in an old Yachty and then are Yachty and Gary fighting for playing time? No.
Yep. And that was one of the bullet points here, is that the Yankees are open to Gary Sanchez's trade, as according to
listening to offers.
Dan Martin, Ken Davidoff, and Joel Sherman. 3 of them wrote this. It's 5 paragraphs long.
Guys.
What?
That's journalism.
Okay.
They all contributed.
This is very interesting. Okay, so clearly just one of them wrote it, but they put the other names on there? Yeah, I mean, someone learned me journalism. Why is this written by all 3 of them?
So they all had a text thread and then somebody typed it up, or what?
I don't know. But Sanchez was awarded $5 million in arbitration last offseason. Will likely get a small raise heading into this season, even though he had poor results. That's just how arbitration works. Says the Yankees are but the Yankees are determined not to give him away, and will also have to figure out how they would replace Sanchez behind the plate. So how do you write the Yankees are determined not to give him away, but the headline is Yankees open to trade?
I mean, it's just classic offseason.
If you call about them, they'll listen, because that's their job, is to listen when
Yes.
teams call.
Their job is to answer phone calls from other baseball teams.
Technically, he'll get a raise. He's more expensive this year, so, and the money's tight, whatever.
Arbitration going to be a mess this year, by the way.
I mean,
Do you think they needed a 4th person to contribute to the article?
dude, this is like where like it's just straight bullshit.
Yeah.
So what they did, this article. All right, well, now I'm reporting on this article.
Okay. Add him to the article. 4th. Jimmy
This, I'm going to write an article called, oh my God, this is so, they're basing all of this off of Cashman's press conference, which we discussed a couple episodes ago, when they asked about the future of Gary Sanchez. He said, and Cashman said, it's certainly a fair question. With Gary's poor season and Higgy starting the games, it's one of the discussion points we're going to focus on. So they took that quote, and then they turned it into the headline that the Yankees are open to a Gary Sanchez trade. And then nothing of this article has any more info than that one quote. But 3 people wrote it.
Yeah.
All it says is, once the DJ situation gets cleared up, then they'll put some thought into Gary Sanchez, but they're determined not to trade him. I mean, holy smokes.
Yeah.
Journalism is at an all-time loss sometimes. I can't believe that.
I'm sorry.
Joel Sherman. It's like a report, like what the fuck is that?
You know how things work. He probably has to put out 2 articles a week.
When you really go into the weeds, though, it's rather upsetting.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, speaking of upsetting, I have to bring you this ad. We're handcuffed to do it.
Have to.
Don't want to. The next topic is brought to you by a show called Jomboy Jake Radio. Wow. It airs on Jomboy Jake TV YouTube channel every Wednesday at noon. You can listen to it live on YouTube, or you can listen to it on any podcast app, any of them. and or even YouTube after the
Not
fact.
live, yeah.
Not live. You can just watch it whenever you want. And it's two hosts, very similar to the host of Talkin' Yanks, talking about our lives. Some very odd things in the news.
Guys similar to us talking about our lives.
Yeah, it's odd.
It's weird.
It used to be 5 times a week. It's only once a week now, so it's not as daunting. It's easy. Tune in, answer some life questions, some dumb questions. At halftime, we try a snack. That's a new thing we're doing. And we love doing it, and we need more people to tune in.
Thank you.
So tune in.
Ad.
I hate doing that.
Yeah. Just
Ads, Bummer. Anyway, Kahnle is mulling over multiple 2-year offers, which makes a lot of sense. We've detailed this, and so has everyone. He's got Tommy John. He has to rehab this whole offseason. So the Yankees release him because they're just paying him for a rehab season. And another team, they did this with Evaldi, they did it with Pineda. Another team will then scoop them up and pay for the rehab season plus the next season afterwards and take the gamble that they recover. Saw that with Evaldi, saw that with Pineda. Adam Warren, the Yankees just did this with Adam Warren.
Yeah.
He was rehabbing in 2020. But I think they had to drop him due to COVID and minor league stuff. But they were going to have him for 2020. They might bring him back.
I heard the plan is he'll be back. At some point, Cashman gave someone a quote like,
when they
we got him back.
When Cashman released him, they said, he'll be back.
Yeah.
Just like, well.
So Kahnle's now seeking a 2-year deal. So, I mean, this headline by Heyman is also obvious. It's not like Kahnle was just going to sit around waiting his rehab and not try to get a deal because that's how it works. Will the Yankees bring him back? It seems kind of unlikely, right? Because otherwise they would have kept him. But also, they could have kept him and negotiated an extension.
You could do different things with the money. Yeah, I mean, it just feels like if you've opened up that can, like I'm sure the Yankees are going to talk to him, but there is a good chance that other teams will be more incentivized to do that. I mean, if you're a team, a team that might not be in the mix this year, but you have big plans for 2022, say, I don't know, like the Detroit Tigers. They're rebuilding, they're young. You can have a guy, you probably won't need Kahnle next year, but the year after that, like you could have a really nice piece in your bullpen for essentially a discounted price for that year at least. So, I mean, it's tough to see him on the open market, and especially, a lot of us have the stories of how important Kahnle was to the atmosphere of that team, and from R2C2 and other stories we've heard. We had Tommy Kahnle on. He was a good dude. It's going to be one of those things that it's going to sting if that tweet comes out and it's Tommy Kahnle signs a 2-year deal with the Blue Jays. That's going to be a sucky thing to read. We'll see. I mean, who knows how creative teams are getting with contracts this year and what the market actually looks like for them. But, it's not looking great, especially with Adam Warren back.
Yeah, I mean, takes him over. And then he'll be a free agent again, so then you revisit it. It's just a very bad timing for him to get season-ending injury.
Yeah.
Really bad. July going into your free agency year, that sucks. Or 1 year left. Year
before, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a bummer. Hope he gets a good deal.
I mean, someone's going to do it.
I mean, you just have to, if you're Kahnle and the agent, you got to look at money. But wouldn't you also look at, past Tommy John
organizations?
Like, if the Blue Jays come and they're like, hey, we want you. Like, all right, show me the last pitcher that rehabbed with you after Tommy John. Let me see what you did. But then we also know from talking to players that, they're so hands-off and they don't actually do anything.
I mean, you get guidelines, but it's on the players to work it back.
Yeah.
And who knows? And again, we always, free agency 95% of the time comes back down to the money. I think we are in kind of a 1% because, I mean, where does Tommy Kahnle want to rehab? Where does Tommy Kahnle want to be a closer someday? Does he sign a 2-year deal with a lesser team where he could jump in and have, an opportunity to be the dude in the bullpen? Or does he want to stay with the New York Yankees? I don't know. His free agency is probably one in the 5% where there are other moving parts, and that's because he's not playing next year.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Another bullet point we have here, Jake, is that the Mets are interested in Tanaka,
Ooh.
which makes sense and keeps Tanaka in New York. Now, do you think Cashman doesn't want this to happen? Like, do you think if Cashman gets a ping, says, hey, from Tanaka's agent, hey, we're about to sign with the Angels. Tanaka wants to play with Ohtani. They have the Japanese market. They have budding superstars. And Cashman may say, okay, we wish him luck. We can't match that, blah, blah. And do you think if the Mets are offering the same money and he gets that call, there's any way Cashman's like, fuck that. We'll match it. Is there any of that rivalry still existing? Like, because you do, I agree. The Mets and Yankees don't trade with each other.
Right.
I think for me it is. I don't want to see him over in a Mets uniform doing good and being all cute. He also dyed his hair. We should talk about that.
Yeah. Tanaka, hot. I don't know. I mean, I do think this Steve Cohen Mets thing, again, super exciting for Mets fans. I like everything he's done so far, from the little stuff to actual moves. And yeah, I mean, I think there's a world where, Steve has something else up his sleeve, and it's maybe a jab at the Yankees, which could be Tanaka, could be DJ LeMahieu. People don't want to hear that. I don't know. I could see a situation where if the Yankees are really in on Tanaka and the Mets throw a last-minute offer and, the agent's like, hey, man, like this is real. This is what the Mets are offering. If you can come within this number, Masa will come back to the Yankees. I think Brian Cashman could go to Hal and be like, hey, Tanaka needs this. Otherwise, he's going to the Mets. And it's going to be a lot of Steve Cohen love.
Who's Dan Martin?
I think he's Dean Martin's son.
I mean, he's just a bullshitter.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we have to ban Dan Martin articles. Dude, listen to the fucking article on this. This is why I don't pay attention to this stuff.
Yeah, I know. I was worried we were going to get here.
At least some people outside the Mets organization believe Tanaka could be a fit if he leaves the Yankees, is the official quote, because he talked to an American League executive, anonymous executive, and the anonymous executive said, we don't know much about what the Mets strategy is going to be since Cohen's never done this before. We'll have to wait and see, but I don't think you can rule them out on anything. That's all the fucking source for there's rumors
Article.
Tanaka may go to the Mets.
Yeah.
Oh, this is why I had blinders on, because for 3 years I've just been reading these and been like, what?
Yeah.
Nothing. You've offered me nothing here. So I apologize to our listeners because we've offered you secondhandly a lot of nothing. Let's recap. Yankees didn't check on Yadi. The Mets are not interested in Tanaka that we know of.
You like the Andrelton one, though, because that was your rumor.
Yeah, that wasn't even a rumor. It was just, I read that one and the writer presented it as, this could be a fit.
This is an option.
This is an option, which he didn't say there's interest or there's not interest or there's been anything. It's just, this is an option, which I agree. That's my same take.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah. This is official. DJ LeMahieu declined the qualifying offer.
Yes, huge.
Official. That's
Free
real. He had to, obviously.
Yeah, DJ. Man, the optimist in me keeps saying that DJ genuinely does want to be a Yankee, and him and his agent are talking to Cashman and is like, hey, get us in this range. We've earned this money. Like, let's just get this done, and I'm hoping the tweet comes soon. I think everything's going to be dragged out pretty long.
DJ said in the MVP stuff, he talked about how much he liked New York and the fans, and I don't think that's DJ. What's that word?
Pandering.
Or no, there's
Posturing.
posturing. I don't think that's him posturing because I don't think he cares enough. I think he's just
Right.
being genuine. But I think his agent can now use that and be like, you're going to look pretty bad if you don't bring this guy back. Look how he's talking about you.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to, like, you know. Every time DJ says something, he ups his own price a little bit of that because the public reaction is going to be so bad. But I don't think DJ's doing that or his agent's telling him to. I think he's being genuine.
I think he's being genuine and it works, and that's
Yeah.
DJ LeMahieu. That's been DJ LeMahieu with the
Yeah.
Yankees. That's why he's gotten the second generation Paul O'Neill comps because he's a gamer and he likes to play and he really does. And DJ doesn't seem too greed driven. DJ LeMahieu is baseball driven, and that's so obvious that he genuinely does like being on the New York Yankees. They are a competitive team every year. You know, I know for some of you listening, that's you feel like that's a slight that I didn't say they're a World Series competitor every year. Well, that's being a Yankees fan, and I think DJ LeMahieu really likes being in that atmosphere. He's absolutely thrived in 2 years. He's gone from like a guy you kind of knew. Be like, yeah, I think he won a batting title one year. I don't know. Is he a Coors guy? Like, what's going on with him? To now he's been a top 5 player in the American League the past 2 years. He wants to be here. The Yankees want him here. They have to pay him and take care of him. Otherwise, he does have to tell them to piss off.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I still think he'll be back, but I'm at like 60-40 with it.
Okay.
You want to throw down a percentage?
I'm pretty high on it. I do think
102, -2.
Hal's last name is Steinbrenner, and I think he knows the effects of
You know he wanted to change it.
if DJ LeMahieu were to leave. What was he going to change it to again?
Steiner.
Like Charlie Steiner.
Well, he liked him better.
He liked Charlie Steiner better
It was
than
like
his dad.
one day when he was hanging out with Steiner.
He
like
was a teen.
He was a
He's
teen.
pissy.
He was like, I like hanging out with him
Very
better.
angsty, listening to 311. Yeah. No, I'm pretty high on it. I just think it would be. Here's where I'm at with it. I think it's happening, or I think it's the full-fledged announcement. Like, this is gonna seem so dramatic. That like these aren't the Yankees of old. Like, the Yankees are an analytically driven
with Cole
team.
though, they just kind of said, here we are.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. And again, we get spoiled. We signed CeCe a decade before Cole, and we signed Cole, and like some teams will never sign guys like that. But I do think it's either they re-sign DJ. We all agree on this. You deserve to get paid. Here's the number. Let's run it back, which I think is happening. I'm probably 90% on it. Or I think there's a 10% where it's like Cashman does a puppy dog conference where he's basically blinking at the camera like, yeah, we just thought there was different options out there. And it's like, oh, fuck. These aren't George's Yanks anymore.
Well, speaking of George's Yanks and signing free agents,
Giambi.
Lindor can get traded for.
Ooh.
Is anyone confirmed that besides Nightingale? It seems like everyone else in the baseball world has been like, yeah, this is going to happen.
Yeah, it's just like, all right, the Cleveland's finally going to do it. It's happening this offseason.
It's been Cleveland's operating procedure. Bauer, Clevenger.
If they do not get DJ,
Right.
do you think they try to trade for Lindor? Now, we've seen the packages that the Indians offer, and they're lower than we've thought a couple times. They also like MLB-ready talent in their package. They don't want just all prospects.
Right.
We also have a pretty good comp with the Mookie Betts trade. Take that and dial it down a tiny notch, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Mookie's on a higher level.
But
than
Lindor.
Lindor.
Lindor's gonna.
Yeah.
It's
Shortstop. Yeah.
1 year.
It's in the same realm.
Yeah, and the Red Sox got Verdugo, who was a MLB ready talent, who was very good. They got a top 5 prospect from the Dodgers and Jeter Downs, and then a catching prospect that was kind of like second tier.
Yeah.
I think he's decently regarded, but a little bit away.
I think the Dodgers had 2 prospects ahead of them, which is partially
So
a compliment.
do this favor for me.
Okay.
And don't yell at me if you disagree. Can I compare Clint to Verdugo?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You can be like, that's an equal match. I don't know about the years attached because Clint only has
It's probably not.
3 left.
It's probably apples and orange.
I think he has kind of a lot because they service
Yeah, they
timed him
dance
a
with
bit.
the time a little bit.
You can find that out.
I think it's apples.
Find out what the exact number is.
It's apples and oranges a little bit, and I guess Clint's the orange.
So if you compare
He's redhead.
Clint to Verdugo, right?
Yes.
Now
Need a
that's
Jeter Downs.
you need to find a Jeter down. So like a top 5 prospect at a position that they want or position of like big value. I don't know if the Yankees have anyone around there.
Not somebody. I don't think they have anybody quite as close as Downs is to. Like he's like within 2 years of being in the big leagues. At the time
Clint
of the
has no
trade.
service time. He's got 2 years of service time. So he's got 4 left.
Yeah.
I thought he's been playing 17, 18, 19, 20. He's played in 4 seasons
Right.
to only accrue 2 years.
Yes.
It's like, oh my God, that sucks for Clint.
Yeah.
Also, whatever. So obviously, Clint's the starting left fielder as of now, and that's probably the best plan moving forward. If you wanted to go get Lindor, I think Clint is there, and I'm just kind of basing this off of past Indians trades and the Mookie trades. I think Clint would be your Verdugo. Hey, here's a guy, and they need outfielders over in Cleveland. Here's your outfielder. And then you have to find a prospect. I don't know if the Yankees have.
Yeah, I'm looking at some updated stuff. There's some new names, but they're deep cuts. Duran, Alcantara, Vargas that are starting to get more love. I think the thing not to get caught
What about
up.
Schmidt?
I think there's a world with it. It depends what the Yankees really think on Schmidt.
And if they can extend Lindor.
If the Yankees think Clark Schmidt is a starting pitcher for the next 5 years, no. If they don't really think that, then yeah.
They'd have to want to extend him and have that like it be part like we are going to extend like they did with Mookie.
And
I don't think that's happening.
I said this to you when the Mookie trade happened, and I know it necessarily doesn't make sense, but when the Dodgers made that trade for Mookie, they planned on re-signing him.
Yes.
You don't pay for trading for Mookie for 10 years, but if the Yankees were to trade for Lindor, and if they give Clark Schmidt up, or whatever the trade package would look like, if the Yankees trade for Lindor, they're planning on signing him.
Yeah, you have to be. Otherwise, you're not going to do a 1 year.
He's not just a vagabond. So, and I'll say this, and I'll start getting more positive for the people because I gave my 10% "we're not the Yankees anymore" speech. And I said this at the start of the episode. I have come around on this free agency a little bit. I think Cashman, he's been at this game for a long time. I don't know what rules have been put on him by Hal. Everything we've heard so far, like the fact that the Yankees are still in on DJ, like, I don't know. And again, that could be the whole new Yankees, blah, blah, blah. But, man, there is going to be some value moves to be made. There's different rumors about teams trading away guys. Lindor's getting paid, he's at the last year of his arbitration where he's going to be making $20 million. Mm-hmm. So, again, when you start doing like the Mookie trade and a lot of teams don't have any money this year.
What?
That's me. Wow. We're both doing it today.
It's like the fourth call in 1 hour.
Stop calling us, everybody. That there's going to be a big trade market this year for salary dumps. If you're a team that can take on salary, holy smokes, you can really clean up. You could get a couple prospects because there's some owners saying clean the books. I think it was a Jeff Passan article that there was one team had their team salary was around 170. The owner before the season wanted them to drop the salary about 30 mil, and then the rumor that they heard was that at the end of this year they want it down like 100 to 100 mil. So there's other teams that are going to be doing the dance. This free agency is going to be messy. I could see Cashman getting creative, whether, say DJ leaves and he goes out and he does a Lindor thing. There's a lot of veteran relief pitchers out there that I don't think are going to be getting big paydays, and that's when it does turn into obnoxious Yankees. Like, hey, if you're only getting a 1 year, $3 million, how about you jump on the damn bandwagon for a year? And do it in New York, and let's go get a ring. Like, I do think there's something there. So that's where I do get optimistic about this offseason is that, I believe in cash. In cash we trust. I do think this offseason is going to be funky. But, hey, the fact we're still having conversations about DJs and Lindors, again, there's not a lot of Talkin' Blank podcasts that are.
Yeah. I mean, it's not an option just straight up not an option. And it might not be an option for the Yanks.
Yeah. That's the other 10%.
But we get to think of it.
We don't talk about that.
No.
Ever.
Herman's playing 6 p.m. tonight.
Huge.
I think he's on the Toros. They're playing a team called the Lycee.
Are we the Toros fans?
I think a lot of the Yankees do play on the Toros.
Is that Gary and Domingo?
I think they're all on the same team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go Toros.
I think that's the team Bird was on last year. Like, the Yankees send guys to that.
Talking Toros.
I don't know how the whole thing sets up.
There's probably a cool connection there.
Don't know what the rules are.
Were the
Someone tell me the
Toros?
rules.
Were the Toros the team from?
Bring It On?
Yeah,
The cheerleading movie?
they're the
Yeah.
Toros, right?
Yeah. Burr, it's cold in here. There must be some Toros in the atmosphere. I said, no, burr. Yeah. You like Bring It On? It's your favorite movie from the year 2000?
My singular favorite movie.
Oh my god.
Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but a note on Lindor. Cleveland in a lot of their trades hasn't necessarily wanted like the top level prospects. They like having just a collection of prospects. Obviously, you want guys with potential, but they haven't sought like top prospects.
They seek major league ready,
Quantity.
like guys where they can plug in right away, and then quantity of.
The other example is the Garrett Cole trade. These
Well, that's not Indians, but
these mid-major teams,
yeah.
if that's what you want to label them, which you shouldn't because that's a college basketball term. But these mid-major teams, if they can get 4 MLB guys, not necessarily stars, like they can make that work. I forget there's a term for it, but there's a couple teams that do it that, like the Brewers last offseason, they signed a bunch of guys who are probably one-WAR players, and they think if you add that up in the pot, you can build a team that way. And that's kind of what Cleveland did.
Do you think the
in
Yankees could
Cleveland.
trade for Lindor without Clint?
Probably. I mean, if you start throwing a lot of bodies together, maybe they love Clark Schmidt or something, or who knows? I'm sure there's a way to do it.
Just in general, the more I've thought about it, and I've had more time in the last week to just sit around and think about it because we did vacation.
Yeah.
But the more I've thought about it, the more I do think the Lindor trade is on the table.
Ooh, okay.
That's also just my brain.
Hey, and that's when we talked about Glaber moving to second base. I think if you get Francisco Lindor and you say, hey,
That's a guy you don't care if you...
Glaber, we love you.
Glaber's feelings.
This guy's going to be here for the next 8 years with you. Let's go do it. Like, I think he's okay with that. I think if you bring in like a vagabond to Andrelton, I think you hurt Glaber's little heart.
Bringing a guy on a 1-year deal is different.
Little puppy dog Glaber.
I was reading some Glaber stats, and
It's bad.
they're bad.
The Suns got Chris Paul, by the way. Not
He's like the
baseball.
second worst defensive shortstop last year and this year in the league by like a lot. Like similar to Andujar's rankings.
Yeah.
At third. So can he improve? I hope, but there's no like, oh no, but it's like all the stats just and the eye test.
The no buts were still, it's a small sample size for the defensive analytics.
But what I'm reading is taking 2019,
Right.
2020, and his minors.
Right, which, he's still really young. 2019, Didi was still here for half the season, so he was bouncing back and forth a little bit. And last year is like a small sample that you're not supposed to judge baseball. Now, I was with you, and with everyone listening to us on the live streams, when a routine ground ball goes to short and you have to hold your breath, that's a horrible sign, and I get that, but we also felt that way when fly balls were hit to Clint Frazier the year before. So I think they still look at him and say he's young. His max value is at shortstop.
My only caveat is corner outfield, easiest, shortstop, hardest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they're... I think you think they're more actively trying to like move Glaber off. I think they...
If they
I
don't get DJ back.
Yes,
if they get DJ back, Glaber's at short, and they roll the dice. If they don't get DJ back, and they have the opportunity to move Glaber over.
I agree with
with
that.
all the shortstops available in 2021-22. That's where I think it. If DJ comes back, Glaber's at short. If DJ doesn't come back, I think they'll slide him over, and they'll find a shortstop.
I agree with that.
Depends what options are presented to them and what guys are willing to take. I think they're willing to give him one more year, and
Because
these guys can put it together. Tatis just did it.
Yeah,
he wasn't as bad as Glaber was this year, but
He
he's
didn't grade
becoming
out well.
above average.
Yeah, he actually
year
graded out
before
pretty
he was pretty
poorly
bad.
his rookie year. I don't think they deserve to be compared right now, but I'd
He
say
might be the best player in all of baseball.
the other side of that coin would be, the Yankees could, if DJ didn't work out, they could bring a stopgap in at second for a year, give Glaber one last chance to figure it out at shortstop, and then wait for Lindor to hit free agency if there isn't a market for him, or wait for that free agent crop. So I don't know. I do think if DJ doesn't return to the Yankees, I think everything's on the table.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys very much for hanging out with us. That was some Yankees talk. We will be recording next week's episode. It'll always be Mondays and Wednesdays. Mondays at noon. Wednesdays around 3 o'clock because we're doing 3 because we're doing Jomboy Jake Radio. Wednesdays at noon, which was the sponsor of this show.
Dang.
We're doing voicemails next week. Voicemails.
I think the next episode's going to be voicemail.
Mailbag.
So leave them in.
Bring some questions our way. And, we'll try to get some guests and keep going with, hopefully there's some more news. No more Dan Martin news is allowed.
Damn.
That's a tough break.
And
you guys should all make that a personal rule.
Yeah.
Just no more reading
Sorry,
his
Dan.
headlines.
Reach out and let us know, but
No, I was all
The writer
about-
of the article doesn't write the headlines. But
Yeah, but, the headline writers, they're writing the headline and then filling in the article. That's what they're doing over at the New York Post this offseason. And I don't like it. And I'm out.
try to find the substance in the report and not just read the
Yeah.
headline.
Yeah.
But that can
0
always
for
be
3,
said.
no substance. But Tanaka has cute hair, and Davey dyed his hair blue.
yeah,
Those are your final updates.
big time.
You worried about having to dye your hair blue?
No.
Okay.
No.
Are you worried about it because he also wore sunglasses that are like yours and you can just do that and you just have to dye the hair blue and you're right there?
He recognizes good fashion. I mean, I think he's following me.
Could your hair do that? I guess it didn't. In high school, your hair did that.
My hair did
got
that.
afro and curly.
Yeah. Doesn't do that anymore.
That's not interesting.
Balding.
Wow. Go Yanks. Tell them, Grams.
Go Yankees.